Oh, there y'all are. Shalom, everybody, and praise Yahweh. So, today I'm doing a class, or, just really trying to expound on something that Yahweh ben Yahweh has already expounded on, which I guess makes my job easy and hard at the same time. It's like, I could just say, just go read the chapter. It tells it all. But I guess I'll turn to my notes and see if I can outline a few things that, Yahweh ben Yahweh already outlined so eloquently in his book, How to Overcome the World. And one thing, being a Hebrew and overcoming the world is an interesting thing. Being a follower of Yahweh ben Yahweh and overcoming the world is an interesting thing. Because you can get so excited. You feel like you found the real truth, because you have. And you feel like you want to go preach it on the mountaintops, because you kind of do. But then you realize it's not that easy. It's not that straightforward. And if you study How to Overcome the World, Yahweh has a whole paragraph that really just puts into perspective how you're supposed to be when it comes to telling and showing people about the blessings of Yahweh and what it has done. So personally, I've been born in Yahweh. I was born praising Yahweh. But still, we look at this planet, and part of the planet and the earth and its ways even gets into people like me. Doesn't matter where you're born, you're still surrounded by all of this. So even though I'm not necessarily coming from an old life to a new life, I'm coming into that new mind as I grow older. So whatever perspective you're coming from, you still have to show the blessings of Yahweh, and you have to portray them to people in a certain way. So this chapter that I'm going on about is called Show and Then Tell. So many of us get excited, like I was saying, and we want to go tell everybody all about, hey, if you do this, if you don't eat pork, and if you listen to Yahweh ben Yahweh, you'll be rich. You'll be great. Everything will work. You don't have to worry about the governments. You don't have to worry about nothing. Listen, there's Leviticus, and then you go over to Jeremiah, and then you go to Joshua, and you go to this, and then you just talking and talking and talking. But the question is, are they receiving what you're saying? Are they ready to receive what you're saying? Is Yahweh and Yahweh ben Yahweh ready for them to receive what you're saying? So just to put this, I'm just going to start off by how he started the chapter. All blessings are available for the enjoyment of the children of Yahweh. So we know that when we're becoming the children of Yahweh, all blessings are available for us. That's a very exciting thing. You immediately want to go tell your loved ones and your friends and those that you care about that there's a way that they can enjoy all the blessings of Yahweh, right? So as children of Yahweh, we often get excited and want to tell family and friends all about our new life. We will sometimes be very passionate about telling people we care about because we know it's the truth. Little did we know we're skipping the first and most important step. And come on, y'all, who's been the greatest fool? Every now and then you just have a little, show and tell. You don't be like, all right, today I'm going to tell y'all about this. I grew a giant pumpkin in my vineyard, so I'm going to tell you all about it. No, what you do is you show them, and then you tell them. When you show people, they automatically have no choice but to accept what is being shown to them, as it is for what it is. You're not speaking words that they could misconfuse with something else. No, they're seeing, and they have to begin to perceive it is what you're doing. And when they look at you and perceive and see, I don't understand what's going on, but I see the works, I see what's happening, then that's when their spirit begins to question. And when their spirit opens up, that's when it's time for you to tell. That's when your words can be fruitful for Yahweh, and not just, an emotional exacerbation of all the knowledge that you've been holding up so tight. Because honestly, it is rare that we meet people where we can just talk about this too. So when we find one in our grasp, it's like, gotcha. Oh yeah, you're conscious? Oh, you don't like the government? Really? Well, so. But the thing is, we have to show and then tell. Yahweh ben Yahweh in his book, How to Overcome the World, makes it perfectly clear that we are to show and then tell. Yahweh ben Yahweh teaches us that it is wise to wait quietly until someone asks you a question about your new life. And when you wait like this, you will be cooperating with Yahweh. You will be working with Yahweh in such a way that your family and your friends will be able to receive the blessing of the Holy Spirit of Yahweh. Now, once they receive it, they can choose to do what they want to do with it. But when they're ready to receive it, they'll be there to hear you out. And they won't be turned off as in a fashion. Because, you know, we're all so used to missionaries and different people being like, here's the word, come listen to this, come let me in your house, And they're all shell-shocked to think that we are coming with the same nonsense. But we're not. Because a tree is known by the fruit it bears, and a man is known by his works. They have no choice but to accept our works. If they see you being blessed by Yahweh, doesn't matter whether they ask you about it or not. They see you being blessed, and they see that you're different from, I guess, those missionaries or those get-rich-quick schemes or all these other things that people come preaching about what to join yourself onto. They'll be in a position to where they have to consider, wow, back in the day, you weren't this prosperous. But ever since you changed and started talking about this Yahweh and change your life and change your diet and do all this, then they begin to wonder. It's like, maybe there is something to it. They might not come all the way over and change, but they'll at least see that you've changed and you're better because of it. So, after you show your new life long enough, then you will have plenty of fruitful opportunities to tell it with your lips to ears and hearts that will be open for their blessing. And that's a quote from Yahweh ben Yahweh from his book. Now the thing is, we often just want to act, but we need to know that we have to cooperate with Yahweh. Yahweh is the one who resurrected us, and it happened when he was ready, and it happened on his time. So for us to be children following him, we have to cooperate with him. And one of the things we have to do is ask Yahweh ben Yahweh, and this is from the book. This is a quote telling us from Yahweh ben Yahweh, telling us what we need to ask in the name of Yahweh ben Yahweh. We need to ask Yahweh ben Yahweh to give us wisdom to know when to speak and when to keep silent. And this is a very deep thing throughout all aspects of the Bible. Even if you study some of the letters of the Hebrew alphabet, such as pay, which in itself is a P, but if you say pay, that also can mean your face and your mouth. Because there's a closed pay and an open pay, and if you study those, that's representative of knowing to speak and when not to speak. You know, because sometimes life and death can be in the tongue. And that's on the physical plane, that's on the spiritual plane, and that's even in your mental plane when you're mumbling or backbiting to the things that are happening to you. You may not be speaking out your mouth, but your thought and your spirit sure is speaking, and Yahweh can always hear it. You know? So we have to study. We have to ask to have wisdom to know when to do this and when to do that. Ask Yahweh ben Yahweh to make you slow to speak until the right time. Sometimes, just like I was saying, oh, you don't like the government, up this, and that, and we're just like you open the floodgate for us to just tell you all about this, all these ancient things. Do you know there was giants? Bet you didn't know there was giants in the Bible. You know, just anything. You know, we get excited. But we have to have wisdom, and we have to be working with Yahweh so that we're not doing our own will or having our own fun or getting excited. We can be wise and cunning about when to speak, when to say to somebody. Because they may take the information you said and proclaim it as their own and have no purpose, no loyalty to Yahweh or anything. But the thing is, if you're working with Yahweh, if they are chosen and if there's a time where they can be woken up and you can help, Yahweh has no problem using us as his children to spread his word. So, those are a few things that we need to ask. We also need to ask Yahweh ben Yahweh to make every word you say fruitful for his kingdom. Just like in the point I was making, you can say words that don't end up being very fruitful to his kingdom. You may not have done something wrong, but you may have passed your pearls before swine and not even known it out of your own excitement. That's why we always have to ask Yahweh ben Yahweh. We have to ask in the name of Yahweh ben Yahweh. in his book, he says, ask all things in the name of Yahweh ben Yahweh. Because it's through his name that we can receive our blessings and that we can move forward. It was through his name and through the power of Yahweh that this knowledge is given to me and anyone else. So if we ask him, if we ask in the name, he will grant us what we want, even if it's not what we need. So you have to be careful what you ask for, especially when it comes to the true and living God, Yahweh, and his faithful servant, Yahweh ben Yahweh. So, pretty much, this chapter is only a paragraph. But when you study what's going on, you can expound this into pretty much lifetimes of study. The Bible says that, nations will come and bow before our feet. But that will never happen if we don't show. We can go around, we can go to Israel, we can go to Afghanistan, we can go wherever. We can tell. But if they see us and we're not showing the Spirit of Yahweh, showing the blessings of Yahweh, showing, what this knowledge has done to our life, it'll be a waste of words. It won't be fruitful for the kingdom of Yahweh. Because everybody knows in Satan's kingdom, everybody knows we're all used to liars, we're all used to big talk. Big talk is, every country has its leaders and they talk big. And there's always plenty of people who see through the talk and know that nothing's going to change. And they come to expect that out of everyone, even in their own lives, their own families. But when you see that orange, you know it's an orange tree. Maybe someone had to tell you it's an orange tree, but when they tell you, you're like, oh, that's an orange. I see it, I was shown it, and now what you tell me is verified, and I can trust you because we represent the God that does not lie, does not need to lie. All they've known is the God that only lies. Lies so much that if the right person come off and be like, this ain't an orange, this is a genetically modified orange with pig genes in it. You know what I mean? So there's so many levels to this, but that's why we have to really get into show. We have to show. We have to be slow to speak, and we have to show through our lives, through an example of how we act, how we think, how we walk, our day-to-day basis, our works, our creations. So let's get a little bit into show. Now the funny thing is, words that you think you know, even when you go and look up some of their shallowest definitions, can just change your perspective and your perception of what you thought it meant. Now, we all have an idea of show, I could show you my words that I wrote, I could show you my phone, show you my tetragrammaton necklace, But, let's get into a few definitions. Alright, first word I ran into on dictionary.com, this is just a modern, because we could always go back to the older and more exhaustive definitions, but even in this one, show, definition 1, to cause or allow to be seen. So what do we have to cause to be seen? The Spirit of Yahweh. We need to cause that to be seen by the people of the earth. We need to bring them to the show. We need to cause it to where they see. When the sun shines in your eyes, it causes you to see it. Now the rest of this definition is to cause or allow to be seen. So that means we can't just keep it all up here. We can't just be, I'm well studied. I know it all. We have to allow that knowledge to be made manifest in our spirit as well as on the physical. Just like Yahweh ben Yahweh was talking about, oh, you think all we did was build buildings? You think my work is just to build buildings and to clean up dilapidated ghettos and stuff like that? That's just a sign. But where was that sign that he was showing the world? It was on the physical. And those who investigated, they found their way to what? The spiritual. And those who continue to investigate found their way all the way to Yahweh ben Yahweh, and they got the chance that everyone gets to choose this day who they serve. Everyone needs that chance, and people are going to choose what they choose, but guess what? They saw it. They got their chance to make their assumption. They had their chance to see a snake. If you see a snake, you know you're going to think before you walk that direction. You had a chance. If you see an empty, beautiful meadow with nothing in it, you have a chance to go that way. You have a chance to take the path less traveled, as they like to talk about in their poems and poetic. Because we know in the world, wide is the way to destruction. That's the path most travel. That's going downstream. And that's one that everyone knows about. But we have to allow the other path to be seen. We have to cause it to be seen. And this is just in the first definition of show. Because we have to show and then tell. So let's see if we can get into another one. Alright, the fourth definition that I ran into, I was skipping through. Get the ones I like the most. Because we all can go and look this up at our own times, and I suggest you do and get a very old book too. As old as dictionaries you can find, and just work your way up to the modern. Because they like to change things and dumb it down. They like to abridge things or whatever. But anyway, fourth definition, to guide. Did you know to show is to guide? For example, if I was in Mexico and our guide was showing us the way. He was in front of everybody. And he was showing us that the path he was traveling was safe. How? By causing us, or allowing it to be seen that it was safe. In the front. Not behind us saying, oh yeah, keep going. It's good. Keep going. I know you've never driven an ATV before, but keep going. There's cactuses everywhere and rocks and all kinds of stuff. Keep going. No. We have to trailblaze that's showing people that if we are with Yahweh, we have a hedge. Don't matter how many nukes or dukes of Hemingway or kings or castles or whatever they had at any point in time. If we have been with Yahweh, or anyone has been a servant and with Yahweh, we have had a hedge of protection around us. Yahweh keeps those, loves those who loves Him. And to show His love, He protects us. So we have to show that that's possible. We have to show that that is plausible. We have to show that that is the truth. So we have to guide, escort, or usher. Alright, now when you're escorting a person, it's kind of like you're taking them a certain way. And people, once they see us going this certain way, they'll want us to show them, right? Even in show, you immediately start to work your way into tell. But what starts first? Show. Now I'm going to move on to another definition. The 12th definition I ran into, yeah, 12, you didn't know. There's even more than that. To express or make evident by appearance. So does that mean they can see us twerking on top of buses at 4 a.m. in the morning? Is that showing the Spirit of Yahweh? No. Is that making it evident by appearance, behavior, or speech? This is all in the definition. Sorry, I stopped. To express or make evident by appearance, behavior, or speech. So, first thing is first. We know it's easy to appear a way. Everybody's like putting on their nice clothes, going to the club, appearing like they got all the money, going home and they ain't got no lights and water. But I appeared at the club as if I was a certain way. So we know about appearing. But we have to appear a certain way, we have to behave a certain way, and we have to speak a certain way. So you remember I said you start at show, but eventually your show ends up telling something. You know, I play the piano, I end up showing you, oh, my skills, but hopefully my show tells you about, I guess, the talent that the Creator has blessed me with to be able to express music that can help people feel good and praise Yahweh. You know, through my show, it can tell you something. Through our show, it can tell you something. Now, we all watch shows and TVs and stuff, and we think it's telling us that, yeah, the good guy won in the end, or that it's all about friendship. But if you look deeper into a lot of these shows, you can see they're telling you something way different, and it's not of Yahweh. You can look deep into what's going on in your show, it's telling something. And that's the same with us. If you look deep into the show as we perfect ourselves, what will we be telling you? The same thing that we tell everybody else. Praise Yahweh. You know what I mean? Our show will allow people to know that, wait, they're praising Yahweh. And it's allowing them to be blessed. And they'll be able to see it. You know, you've heard all the world's a stage. Well, it is. Yahweh is the conductor and the writer and the orchestrator and the planner. And He's put us all up on stage as props. And He's got us the choice to have His Spirit in us or to have some other spirit in us. And those that choose to have His Spirit get put on a certain area in the stage. And those who choose others get put on a certain area. And it's our duty to what? Perform. What else? To sing unto Yahweh, to perform unto Yahweh. The stage is what you do in all these things when you're confronted with these temptations and you're confronted with these situations that could throw you off your rocker and make you angry. This is just another example for you to perform. Every time we watch a show, do we watch Blade, the Vampire Slayer, and then we watch, oh, this is the day where he was just chilling, at his house on Thursday, sitting on the couch. No, we show him going through tribulations and fighting vampires and monsters and whatever. But those are the defining moments. Yeah, that's a fictitious thing. But when we're confronted with the government, or when we're confronted with our own family and they're against us because we chose Yahweh, or when we're confronted with hidden byproducts such as pork that we're just learning about and we have to feel bad because all the bread it can't be eaten, and how we react and act is part of the show. And you can show Yahweh, who do you stand with, how do you feel, and who are you really? Because he knows, but he gives you plenty of opportunity to realize who you are yourself and to have a choice. So I've been going on, but really this one paragraph, barely of a paragraph. If I was told to write a paragraph in school this short, they would be like, try again. But within this little paragraph, we can expound on all of what we're supposed to be doing. Sorry, but all of what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to show the knowledge and the power of Yahweh. And the only way to do that is through our actions. It's not to just be a hearer, to be a doer of the word. So I guess I'll go into some more definitions of show. To put on an exhibition or performance. Alright, show. At the end of the show where they get the little hook and they pull a person off at the end because it's the end of the show. Yes, we all have our time to be center stage every day of our lives, And then Yahweh will use us for grand things, just like he used Joseph to save all of Israel and even the Egyptians. Just how he used Moses to guide us through the desert for 40 years. And, it may not seem like that glamorous of a thing to do, but when you're chosen by Yahweh, it fulfills your spirit to do what he has commanded you to do. And to show that you have rehearsed and you're ready for the show. We've got to practice, and that's study. We've got to perform, and when you practice, one part about practicing, you can practice through performance. When you see a play or when you see anything like a show stage, they may have practiced a bunch with no one watching. But the real practice is when they get in front of everybody and they have to enact the same thing and keep their mind focused, because it's not about who's watching. Really, it's about who's watching, and he's always watching, Yahweh. Honestly, when I perform, I think, especially if I'm nervous, sometimes I get nervous randomly, and I think, well, Yahweh's always watching. And that's the person I'm performing for, mainly. He's always watching. So I should be just about as nervous every time. Right. Doesn't matter how many, eyes or how many minds are thinking and perceiving about me. But one great mind is perceiving me and sees me. And I need to consider him. So then I begin to meditate on myself and focus on giving the best show that I can give for the person that created me. So, this is all when it comes on to putting on an exhibition or performance in your life. And if you do good, your time won't be finite. You know what I mean? Our time will be infinite, infinite. Because one thing I noticed from Yahweh in creation, he creates good and he creates evil. He creates small, he creates large. He creates the finite and he even creates the infinite. So for there to be something that ends, there has to be things that don't. Scientists think they can look at the sun with some fancy telescope and be like, yep, in about 16.3 billion years, that's going to run out of the hydrogen molecule, blah, blah, blah. And they haven't even sent one probe. They don't even have probes. They're just looking at it and think they know all about it. But logically, they're unsound. Logically, they're unsound. They see, oh, just because I think I see a star explode, maybe that is a star exploding. They can't even verify that absolutely. But just because they think they see one, that means all stars are going to explode. Just because they see the flesh die, they think all flesh is going to die. Just because they can't see the spirit, or any of the spiritual things, they think it's not there. But actually, no, the ones at the top know it's there, just lie to make other people believe that it's not there. That's the show that they're putting on. You turn on History Science Channel, they have a channel full of shows. And what are they showing? The spirit of Satan. Well, it's time for us to establish all of our shows, all of our channels, all of our programs, so we can get this show on the road. Right? If it comes to our feet and worship Yahweh and be showing bad things. I don't even need to get into it because we all know. So we need to make sure that in our lives we do the best to practice so that we can perform and put on that wonderful show for Yahweh. Praise Yahweh.
Praise Yahweh.
Thank you for having me. And now I'm going to bring up the most honorable, the most blessed, the one I've been talking about this whole time. Give it up for Yahweh ben Yahweh.